Hi, welcome to the 12th House Podcast. I'm Michelle, your co-host and the head witch in charge here at Holisticism. Delighted to have you. Welcome back to the squirrels who have been here before, to our new squirrels. Hi, how's it going? The 12th House Podcast is a little corner of the internet where we bring together creativity, inspiration, intuition, spiritual shit, the metaphysical, the practical, tactical stuff that comes to running a business. And we bring it to you so that you can do your sacred work, so you can self-actualize, so you can be the biggest you could possibly be. It's really fun. You're going to like it, I think. Anyway, let's get into today's episode. Hi, Katie.
Hi.
Okay, we're back. We didn't really go anywhere. We just turned it off and then we turned it back on again.
But for you, listeners, it's a new day.
We were trying to keep our green room chat to 30 minutes and we failed. But that's okay. You know, that's life. But I am a curious little bitch. And I always want to know, like, what are other people thinking about? Like, what are they obsessed with? What is just getting your goat? So I have my list of things that I'm hyperfixated on. But what about you, Katie? Katie Delpout. Do people call you KD or do they call you KT?
Both, all of the above. My friends' kids call me KD, which I think is cute. I like it all.
That's cute.
Well, okay, back to hyperfixations. It's funny that you brought this up because on my Substack, the last 2 issues, I've been doing this thing called field notes where every other time I write just like essentially a recommendations list loosely around a theme.
That's my favorite type of content. Can I just say that? Like, that's my favorite thing. I just want to know, like, what are you liking? What are you buying? What's the deal?
Well, I mean, that was really around good for you. And I think it nods to this old internet era that we came up in and I loved. Like, I just wanted lists from listicles and I think listicles have existed for millennia. Like, when I switched my newsletter from where it was to Substack, I made a whole new thing and I called it Let It Out List and I did all this research about like great lists that we love. And I know we share a lot of, like, we both love the, Woody Guthrie's New Year's Rulings or Sister Karina Kent's list. Like, we love these.
Sister Karina Kent. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we love those. And so I did a list of lists and it was all my favorite lists. So like that, you know, I think it's very human nature to organize. I'll send this to you because I think you would like what I learned in my research about it was that like our brains like organizing information in that way. And then recommendations, that was like a whole different part of our brains that we just really like. I mean, think of, you know, The Strategist and Wirecutter, and like the internet's so good for that, but it's so vast. So if you want to feel like a human, you know? So
Yep.
Anyway, all of that to say, the first issue of my field notes list was around hyperfixation. So it was things that we didn't know what that is. And then
we're familiar. We're intimate with hyperfixations.
And so part 2, the funny thing is, like, and I teased this in the last episode, not teased, I straight up told you in the last episode of like, I never ate rice cakes growing up and then recently started eating them, got really craved them and was like eating like a half a pack a day. I was like a half a pack a day rice cake guy there
with like a topping or just like raw, like in their purest form.
Yeah, I'm not proud of it. They're better with a topping, but I'd have one and then I get this way with a lot of foods where and this is a whole, you know, another conversation that I would actually love to have because I'm very fascinated about how people eat when no one's looking and secret single behaviors. And when you're eating by yourself, most of your meals, like, you don't have to consider anyone else and you're not really eating in plain view. So you just kind of I eat a lot of snacks. Like, it's not great. And there's reasons why it would be better for me to not do this. But every once in a while, I'll have something I really like. And whether it's healthy, whether just whatever it is, and I'll want it more than anything else. And so I'll want to eat it every time I eat, period, you know? And rice cakes, like, there's nothing wrong with them. They're also not, like, they're fine, but they're also not enough. Then you're not getting enough nutrients. If you're just eating the same thing, you're eating the same nutrients, you know?
Yeah.
So anyway, part 2, the second edition of Field Notes, the theme is aversion, like hyperaversion, like the other end of the coin is repulsion, like when a hyperfixation becomes repulsion. and how that can happen with a song you just listen to too much. So you make it like your own personal radio single, and then you suddenly like want nothing to do with it and you ruin it for yourself, which I've done with so many things. And then you can do that, of course, with foods. Like I started to notice myself with the rice cakes, like I knew the favorite brand and I'd even talked about it in the newsletter, Mother Salted, you know, and then I started walking past in the stores that stocked the best brand. I started walking right on by. And then the true test was Gross Out, which we've mentioned before, grocery outlet, which is right by me. Basically, it's like a Marshalls or Home Goods, but for food, not expired food, just like overstock. Or usually what it is you'll go in there and it'll be like your favorite granola bar or waffles, or like it might be a really expensive thing you could get at like a Erewhon or a Whole Foods, right? But it'll be for half the price, and you're like, what's the catch? And then you'll go to Whole Foods or Erewhon or Sprouts or Vaughn's or whatever, and you'll see and then the next week that product has an entirely new packaging, facelift. So no wonder they were selling it at Gross Out. So nothing's wrong with it. They're just like giving it or they had an overstock or whatever. And so since one is so close to me, and I don't really even like big stores, it kind of overwhelmed me, and I shop like I still live in New York and buy like just a few things, but I'll go into Gross Out just to like scan, and like it's like a lot. It's like
the best of shopping. Yeah, totally. Because you're like, am I going to find just like a secret amazing thing today?
Yeah. And it started to be actually bad, where I was going in and I was like, oh, well, this avocado oil that is usually this, I need it. Like, and then I didn't even need that.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. And the like mental math of like, well, it's on sale for like 75% off, and it's usually $80. So this is totally a steal. And meanwhile, of course, you don't need it. And also, by the way, it's like, they're all like specialty foods. It's not like you could make a meal out of all the, you can't like go grocery shopping there, for like your regular stuff.
Yes. But they do have produce. So
they do.
One could, but I told a friend recently that I buy produce there sometimes, and the way that they looked at me as if, and I was like, they even have organic, like you kind of have to eat it that day, but like fine, Anyway, it's not for everybody, but
that's how you shop anyway. So like, who cares? I mean, yes, there's nothing better than finding a weird food in like Marshalls or Home Goods in the food aisle that is, and then you like, I actually read somewhere that like TJ Maxx, that they merchandise it like all crammed and kind of fucked up on purpose, because people love, we are hunter-gatherers at heart. Like we love climbing through things. So the food section of like those brands, because they're all under the same umbrella, always looks like that. And it makes people buy things more than like if it were organized neatly on shelves, Erewhon style. Isn't that wild?
That is wild. And it's interesting. I mean, the reason I brought up this incredible store is because you never know what's going to be there. Like they have this sort of wellnessy aisle that's like Whole Foods. And so they don't usually, there are some things that are like staples that they always have in stock. Like they always have carrot sticks. They always have like a few things, but sometimes you can't like you said, you can't go there for waffles. You can go there for crackers, like as a category. Right. Because there will be a cracker for sure, but it's not going to, you have to be open to the different sort of brands that will be provided to you, and roll the dice that they literally might not have any. But they never have ever had rice cakes, ever. And this is when I knew I was repulsed by the cakes, and I was no longer an addict, because I'm walking by, I go in to just scan and see what's up in Gross Out. I know everyone who works there, of course, by name. And I'm walking by the aisle, and not only do they have my favorite variety, they are 99 cents a pack. And I walked on by. I walked on by because I was like, you know what? If I go in here and I get $5 worth, let's say, that's like, I just know I won't eat it. I knew it had gone too far. And that's when I knew I was repulsed by the other end of the coin of hyperfixation is repulsion.
Wow. I mean, seeing that 99 cent on anything these days is like, it's really hard to turn down. You have to like actively say no. I went to this week I went to the Pasadena craft thrift store. Have you heard of it?
No. Sounds cool though.
Okay, so it's this thrift store that only has crafting materials. So it has like paper and art, all types of art supplies, tons of fabric. Like it's really, really cool. And I went in with Rhodes, of course, and they have a washi tape aisle. And washi tape is one of my things on my hyperfixation list. I like kind of went loco for washi tape, which is that like really cute, sort of very sticky tape that is popular in bullet journals and just in general.
Often has patterns or colors on the side of it.
Exactly. And the washi tape that was washing, I was like a pig in mud, man. I was so excited. I picked up so many. I got this like holographic washi tape. It made me so happy. And it ended up being like $3. It was crazy.
Wow. That's about to be my next hyperfixation, that store. What an incredible, it's like the gross out of craft items.
Yes, totally. And like everyone who works there is so cute and cool, and like they write funny little jokes. It's kind of like Trader Joe's. You know, they're just like, it's cool. It's a cool place. I like it.
Wow. Yeah. I like it. I like what I'm hearing. Well, I mean, I could be here all day with hyperfixations, and you have a very long list, so I want to get to it. But I guess just to more dock the bow of what I was saying abstractly about hyperfixation versus repulsion, or like the merger between like my issue 1 and issue 2 of my newsletter, is that like, do you see it that way? Because one of the points I was trying to make is that it happens really often in music, right? Like this, we've all experienced like the album we loved, but now we can't listen to it for a while, but then you listen to it again and you like it, or a food that we get sick of. For me, this is really the first time that's happened to me with a food. I can kind of eat the same things over and over again, and then that's usually no problem. But the other thing that was really interesting to me about this, and this is what I'm most curious what you think, is like, I think this happens with people too. If you spend too much time with them, or if you, have you experienced that in your life?
So I think of it less as a spectrum and more like a circle where it's like a demon that you're exercising. So, or like energy that you have to expel. So like my obsession with running, or with washi tape, or with, I don't know, like a special food that's at Trader Joe's. Also, like this definitely, I'm sure there's an ADHD thing associated with it. I'm positive. Or even like a way of eating things. Like I used to, this is so gross, but I always used to like dip Oreos in water because I didn't like dipping them in milk because I don't like the way milk tastes, but I like a sort of crumbly Oreo.
Why making that face?
It's more like you, oh, okay, cool. I think it's a little gross. It's a little weird when I think about it, but you know.
Gross, but I actually, like, I eat cereal with water sometimes because of the same reason.
Yeah, like I don't like milk, but I don't want to be like cutting my gums on, you know, dangerous Oreos or like extremely spiky cereal. It's, you know, you need a little buffer. So yeah, I feel like there's like a certain number of times that I have to get something out of my system. Like for example, if I'm eating, let's say rice cakes, and I'm eating them for like breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I have like a quota of 1,000 times I'm eating rice cakes, right? To like expel this demon from my body, this hyperfixation. So I'm just going to like get to it faster if I do it 3 times a day. But I could have this hyperfixation for 5 years because I only eat them once a day or once a week. But they're like my special food. I feel that way about Starbucks. Like some of Starbucks' drinks or like their little pastries. They used to make like a pumpkin scone that I was obsessed with. And it wasn't that I like, you know, by the end of pumpkin scone season, I was like, okay, I've kind of I'm getting close to my quota and I need a little bit of time off. And now, you know, they're not back this year. But if they were, I'd be down to clown with the pumpkin scone.
Yeah. I think you can I try to do that with songs too, where I'll try to I'll not allow myself to listen to it because I still want it to remind me of the thing it reminded me of. But then I just break it. I really, that one's tough. And then the people thing, like, what do you think about that? Cause I think this kind of teeters on like a whole dating concept too, of like overexposure, or like a PR concept too, of when someone's just in the media
PR
a lot.
Definitely. I fear our girl Taylor is edging close to overexposure.
She's been there before. She could be there again.
Yep, it's true. I'm worried for her, but yeah, I think like more with people that I don't have a like true relationship with, I get the overexposure thing. I also, okay, that was a preview of the 12th House Plus content. Just a little sneaky snack. If you like that, if you want more, if you want to hear the whole story, you can subscribe on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify Podcasts at the very top of the page where you would subscribe in general for the podcast. It's $5.99 a month, and we'd love to have you.